AH has taken up interview drive for documenting the legacies of anthropologists and developing anthropological applications to improve human condition. Professor Naval Kumar Ambast, former chairman, NIOS. Welcome to the fourth episode of the interview with Professor N.K.Ambasht, an eminent anthropologist from India who is specialized in education, and his contribution to the national education and the policy and the discipline of anthropology is incredible. And he's an accomplished anthropologist from India. So now we are going to learn from him. So, sir, good evening, sir. Good evening, Professor N.K.Ambasht, sir.
Good evening. Good evening.
So I'm glad that your time and your valuable insights are very much inspiring, and your commitment to the discipline, and we are inspired. Thank you so much, sir. My question to you is, why do anthropology matters for education and life?
Well, anthropology is the study of human beings, and if human being is important for life and for society and for everything, then anthropology is as important as human species itself. And when you start studying man with capital M, capital A, capital N, then it involves two things. One is the physiological aspect of man, which we deal with physical anthropology. The other one is the how man lives. And when you start talking about it, you will recall Hershkowitz's definition that what is the culture? He said, man and his works. So man and his works is manifest in two components. One component is the objects and materials that the man creates. And then you into the society, immediate society, culture, then you go on extending and you reach the parliament or a country, and for that matter, the entire world. So if there is any human activity involved, the anthropology has some contribution in that, whether it is physical anthropology or social anthropology or cultural anthropology. So anthropology is all pervading in that sense. And the moment you organize into a unit of family and society, sociology also comes into play. When you start interacting and reading the minds or thought processes, psychology comes into play. So these social sciences are always integrated, interrelated, and are for our convenience we have separated them. But when when you start looking at it, it works as an integral unit. So one can say that anthropology is the science of or art of or organizations, the way we live. I'm not talking about, anthropology talks about only humans, not about animal kingdom, other animal kingdom. So in that sense, it has got a very big canvas. You start with family, you start with individual unit as a human being, go on to family, to go on to the society, go on to the parliament, district level organization, go on to state assembly, to parliament, and to the world at large, and United Nations and whatever. Everywhere there is a human person. And as long as human being is there, anthropology is also there.
So excellent, sir. Thank you. Um, in the pluralistic society like India, how to strike balance between the customary laws and constitutional laws? Every culture has its own customary laws, and they have their own taboos, they have their own belief system, and every culture has its own unique control on the humans are members of that particular culture. So ours is a pluralistic, culturally pluralistic society, and also ours is India as a nation is the largest democracy in the world. So on the one hand, being the pluralistic society, and the other hand, the largest democratic country on this planet. So how to strike a balance between the customary laws prescribed by the local different cultures, and also constitutional law, which wants to control and regulate and interpret entire national code of conduct. So how to strike balance, or how what anthropology has to offer in this context?
Well, as you have rightly said, the if culture is man and his works, and if anthropology deals with man, then uh, there will be certain rules that one would enforce in order uh, to have certain kind of standards of behavior towards one another. The behavior of the father with the child, the behavior of the husband with the wife, the behavior of the neighbors in between, living together, etc., etc. So these are some of the laws that evolve and come to stay by way of practice, and that its standardization is nowhere codified. No code says that when you see your elder, you must make a namaste like this, or salute like this, or do that like this. It varies from culture to culture, but one thing is common, that you have to greet. So this kind of behavior or interpersonal behavior patterns have come to stay by way of practices adopted by specific communities. Now you must have seen one very great thing, that handshake was the very common kind of greeting, and in the COVID time it changed to namaste. Now I see that this is a change in social practices, which was more or less common in many countries, and then they have found that touching each one, or rubbing the nose in some societies. So there are specific codes of conduct and behaviors towards each other, which are specific to that particular community or that particular area. But there are many things common. For instance, when you meet, I am taking this very example, extending it. When you meet another person, you greet. In what way you greet is different, but you greet. So this is at a higher order, where one society and another society, one culture and another culture can interact. Greeting is a common way of sending your good wishes or receiving good wishes. So the levels go on varying. Your question was that different groups and their social practices in the larger canvas of the state and the nation, this has to, that is why if you, this has to coexist, number one. The second point that I refer to various element committee report on the policy of towards the tribals, and I also told you that the accepted principle of the state governance was integration of the society, not assimilation or not deculturation. Huh? So the local practices and the in larger canvas, they form small parts. But overall general commonalities have been coded in various laws. The establishment of gram panchayats and the establishment of local self-governments, this is also a way of decentralizing and making local specific the laws, the developmental activities, the educational programs. If you look at any of the gram panchayats, I did a comparative study of gram panchayats sometime back in 1993-94. So in 2 states, on a request from Government of India. But the major point that came out was the clash of overlapping of functions of the gram panchayats and the bureaucracy. So there was some kind of a friction between the two, and who shall prevail was a question. But that is not the point that I'm trying to make here. I'm trying to make here that the gram sabhas, the village panchayat, they were more or less, they owe their origin from traditional tribal societies, organizations, which had which you find in almost every tribal community. There is a head, a paraha panchayat or this. So to live with them, not to obliterate them, but to be with them and evolve from there is perhaps the spirit of living together. So I think that will answer your your question, because from nebulous to the larger macro, you see, and that is why I think that any person who is dealing with the society, direct in contact with the people, he must have some kind of understanding of social anthropology. How people behave in a manner they behave is the question.
For example, sir, different. For example, Hindu society is a stratified society on the caste-based relational affinities and ties. So there are, for example, honor killings and kind of social segregation or practices of untouchability. Maybe the degree from the rural areas to the urban areas, semi-urban areas, and cosmopolitan cities maybe differs. But these are the it comes from the generations, whereas some other religions have their own prescriptions. But how anthropology can really enhance the human vision, as you rightly said, coexistence, the art of coexist, living together. So how anthropology can really facilitate that kind of this thing, means the art of living together in peaceful terms, even though the affinity, they have the strong affinities and ties, relational ties based on the caste or religion. But when dealing with the other castes or other religions groups, and the cultural clash, or the clash of beliefs, the clash of priorities, and some clash of ideologies. So it is like a lot of there's a possibility for to become chaos, and some kind of threatening to the society if the fanaticism increases, irrespective of which religion or which caste kind of thing. This kind of too much pluralistic, and the strong affinities based on their belief structure, or the social structure kind of thing. So how really anthropologists can really help um, um, the constitutional provisions or the justice to be secured to every person, kind of.
Well, one has to understand that each society has its own. There are two sets of laws which govern the society. One is the law that is codified law, that you have civil procedure code, criminal procedure code, your courts, etc., etc. Then there is certain uh, unwritten law which are equally important. For example, incest. Now, you cannot have incestuous relationship. There is nowhere in no CRPC it is written that you cannot cohabit with your own sister, right? But it is incestuous, and it is established by the tradition. Similarly, there are many other endogamous, exogamous societies. You know, there is no codification that you will be endogamous or you will be exogamous. And then there is gotras and other things. So the issue that you have raised is that these kinds of aberrations shall occur with the contact situation when two societies come together. Two or more societies come together who have different unwritten laws, which you call customs, which you call traditions. So if there is a clash or if there is some kind of merging, then there is a problem of social tensions that is created. And the problem is not unique, or this is raising heads. The more contact, more varieties of societies come together, there is likelihood of more such aberrations, such kind of clashes coming. So one way is that your criminal procedure code, and you the other way is also, if you have a deeper understanding of anthropology, social anthropology particularly, then you will be able to see where the malaise lies, where is the problem, why is this occurring. Once you are able to understand or analyze this, then maybe, I don't say that you will be, I'm saying maybe that you will come to some kind of understanding, better understanding of the causal factors that is causing such kind of aberration. And then take remedial actions, take people in confidence. I don't know, I mean, it's a hypothetical question, but how, if you understand this, then you will be able to sort of communicate with the groups or the societies with empathy. I'm not saying sympathy, I'm saying empathy. So with empathy is the major, I would say, outcome of understanding of different peoples, different cultures, different. So the clashes that are occurring are I would say a lack of it. If I understand that what is that particular religion, what is their mores, what is their folkways. Huh? So just you mentioned that
honor killings.
yeah, honor killing you mentioned. Now, what is this? You see, if a girl marries a boy or elopes with a boy, then there are certain societies where elopement is a way of marriage. No? 8 types of marriages you must have studied in social anthropology. So elopement was one of those eight. Now, this is not being accepted. This elopement is not being accepted. And if it is interreligious, then it is a very dangerous, explosive situation. Now, if those who involved with this kind of are or have been have studied anthropology and social anthropology, they would have understood that what kind of social repercussion will it, the consequences will be. It is not only 2 families, it's the entire community. It is entire community. And when you see this love jihad and all those things, this is nothing but extended form of what. So our people, if they could have seen in the perspective of local customary laws, and where there is a taboo, what is a taboo in particular society? Supposing for a while, elopement is sanctioned in some tribal society. So you elope and you marry, and the community accepts you after some time. It is not a taboo. It is one of the sanctioned ways of marriages. Bride price and marriage by consent, marriage by elopement. There are sororate, levirate. These are all kinds of things. But when this elopement is not permissible in other society, you are practicing it in another context, right? In say certain Islamic countries, bigamy and polygamy is sanctioned, but in other countries, bigamy is a strict no-no and punishable by courts. So these kinds of understanding, study of social anthropology provides this kind of understanding, where a certain act is admissible and where a certain act is not admissible. So this is the perspective that one has to set. I think I have answered your question.
Yeah, sir, because we frequently hear this kind of incidences across the nation. Even one of my friend, he was my classmate. So he held, so in regards, they had some love affair with.
Can you be a little louder, please? Yeah. Can you be a little louder? I am not very just small. Louder.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. For example, there is one of my classmate. He fell in love with one girl from upper caste community. So both of them wanted to marry, but when she approached her parents, the parents threatened her, if you marry him, because he is from downtrodden caste, so they will commit suicide. So that kind of thing made her not to go for marry with him, and she stayed back without marriage. And that guy also not married at all because they love each other. So they don't want to hurt parents. At the same time, they want to marry, but the marriage did not happen. So both of them are highly qualified and employed at the higher levels. but the customary laws or the traditional beliefs that hinder them. Being human and human being, the difference, a human being to become human, and what anthropology can really enhance the vision for humanity to be human. So kind of these are the numerous there are, I can give a list of examples, but
Anthropology as such is not a social reformer. Anthropology is studying and understanding the ways the society, man lives in a society and functions. So if that can be of some help in modifying those customs, those traditions, etc., etc., it happens. It goes on slowly. The process of acculturation takes place without one's noticing it. The case you have said about, if the both of them had moved out of that place and married by elopement, gone out to Delhi or to Calcutta or to Bombay and lived there, they could have done that. But strictly speaking, within the limited sanctions or the practices, these practices, these are evolved practices. It's not somebody who sat down and wrote down that this is this. This is his tradition. It has its scientific reason. It may be scientific reason. It may not have scientific reason. I don't know. But these are called. That is why there are the folkways, totem taboos, folkways, mores. So folkways is that you don't marry outside the room, right? Mores is that you think that this is immoral, right? So these things are, if you understand these things, why of it, then you will be able to rationalize, or you will be able to see way out. This is bound to happen. I mean, nobody can stop it. But the only thing is that you develop a kind of a understanding of certain phenomena, why this phenomena is happening, and how to deal with it. Deal with it with minimum upheaval. That is what I think. I don't mean to say that anthropology has answered to all questions, all social aberrations, all kinds of conflict situations. No, but if you have studied and analyzed it, you will be able to find that there is some kind of basis for such as certain actions, and you can, with greater understanding of the phenomena, you can come out with some kind of a solution to that problem.
Yeah, because the anthropological applications and this turning the anthropological knowledge into wisdom to enable the bureaucrats and the policymakers to address these social issues or the human problems. So that's where these anthropological understandings and insights can really helpful to address the incidents of the honor killing or the caste-based harassment in the workplace, or this bullying in the school, or the vandalism, the problem of suicide, student suicide, all these social problems, or whatever the problem, for example, religious fanaticism kind of thing. So if these problems are real and they are going to be chronic if they are not properly addressed, if anthropological gaze
shift to address this, understand these problems, not only these problems, but the other problems, turning human beings to being human. That major shift in that transition of what can anthropology as an instrument, what are the kind of instrumental roles that we anthropologists or as a discipline of anthropology can really offer, kind of offer to the peaceful, to promote peaceful social existence and to address all these issues and to improve the human condition, because these problems are life threatening. And if it is, these problems are not going to be addressed, it will increase or perpetuate at least. So anthropology as a discipline, it studies humans, and it studies human minds and human behavior, human beliefs, and human culture and customs, and everything that man from birth to death, and from every work and every attitude, every belief, every word he utters, every deed he accomplishes, all this thing we study holistically, and brings a comprehensive understanding of human behavior and belief and conduct and customs. So if the customary laws or these religious sanctions, if they are that much powerful, and also the court of law and the law and order issue is also very powerful in the country. So these culturally powerful institutions are the constitutional institutions, and when they meet together, and that's where they look for some help, and that's where anthropologists has to say something. So that's why anthropology, the need for anthropology in the school or in the college, the university, how really anthropology can really address these issues and create a wisdom and spreads it. So that is my, that's why where I am actually looking for kind of some ideas or your experiences or some suggestions.
Well, you see, anthropology starts from the very day you are born. And it is there whether you call it anthropology or not. But the child differentiates between a human being and other species like cats and dogs, which he or she sees. The basic idea that anthropology should start from schools and right from it is there without naming it. And perhaps I do not know why, but many people, I think that somebody might have said that anthropology is such a big subject and big that we do it only in BA or MA level, not even at school level. So, because they wanted to be great, they wanted to be professors. I don't see any reason why it should not be there in the schools. It is there in the schools, but it is not called as anthropology. Because you study family in the class 6 civics. You call it civics. You want it to be known as civics. And you have, when you come to, so you say anthropology is a very, very, oh my God, it is a very specialized, very specific subject that we will have only in postgraduate or in graduate. We will not have it undergraduate. So this hierarchy of learning, I think this is a misnomer. The moment you are, it is there, it is operating there. sociology, anthropology, psychology. These are the subject areas, these are the areas. For our own convenience, we have classified it as like that. Human behavior taken together. So it is there. You study about Birsa Munda in class 6th or 7th, there is a biography on that. You don't say that I am a study of Munda tribe and their life and culture, but you have already introduced it in a greater manner. So anthropology, if you want to make it from right from school, you will have to redefine your contours with regard to, you will have to, as economics is there from class 1, the moment you start telling rupees 100 paisa makes a rupee 100 and 5 rupee, 20 rupee. Economics has started, but we don't call it economics at grade 1, right? So anthropology is there. The moment that you start about talking family and neighborhood and this, anthropology you have started as a social anthropology there. So it is a question of when you start calling it anthropology. You think that anthropology, when you start blood group and physical anthropology and social anthropology and family as a unit, of course, family as a unit is being taught in the class 8th, 9th, 10th. Huh? Is it not? It is being taught. So you start calling from day after tomorrow that when family is being taught, you are being taught anthropology. You have just to label it. It is being taught there. So anthropology, you see, somehow or other it has come to confine itself to study of tribal communities, secluded communities, etc. But and then a sister discipline like sociology also emerged. Much of their concerns is the same in broader sense. That family, you study both the sides, right? You study community organization both sides. The only format is that the difference of societies or social groups which you are addressing in your study. So these, mind you, I tell you, let me say one thing very clearly. All knowledge is philosophy. All knowledge, this is botany, chemistry, astrophysics, sociology, Hindi, English, everything is a part of philosophy. Otherwise, Dr. Gadde, when you got your PhD, your degree is Doctor of Philosophy. It's not Doctor of Anthropology, Doctor of Social Anthropology, Doctor of Chemistry, Doctor of Physics. It is the entire gamut of knowledge, is philosophy. And Aristotle, Socrates, they all started with this. In India also, all the Vedic knowledge was Sankhya, Darshan. It was Darshan, philosophy. So it wasn't said that it is Charak is giving you medicine. It was against that Darshan, a part of Darshan. So what we have decided during the evolutionary period is we have bifurcated it into different branches because it was not possible for every individual to master all the entire knowledge. So they said, all right, I will go study only physical world, so, physics. I will study biology because I want to study the human anatomy and animal anatomy and all those things. But ultimately, when all knowledge goes, as you go up, you find there is submergence. that submergence takes place and that becomes philosophy. Now, atomic theory, then the positron, then the black hole theory, then the quantum mechanics, all these are, when you go that up, you start going deep into the causal factors, you come to it becomes a philosophical kind of proposition. So this, to my mind, these bifurcations are only a convenient bifurcations are select nomenclature, so that we can confine only to one small area and study that, because it is not possible for every individual to be as widely knowledgeable in all the aspects of creation. So one selects one small area and says, I am studying physics. I will only study forces, electricity, etc., etc. I am studying chemistry. I am studying biology. I am studying anatomy. I am studying philosophy. I am studying English. I am studying anthropology. I am studying sociology. But when you reach the pinnacle of it, everything turns out to be philosophy. It emanated from philosophy. It ends in philosophy.
Yeah, it means the search for truth. Philosophy means a search for wisdom, search for truth. So the truth about anthropology, the sociology, the truth about botany or zoology. So yeah. So yes, sir. The thing is, the most crucial thing is when there are different disciplines, specialized studies of different the human activities. For example, psychology, sociology, political science, economics. There are different disciplines directly or indirectly connected to humans. Whatever people do, so they study in that specialized. So what is the uniqueness of anthropology? So okay, when there are many other social sciences like sociology, political science, economics, psychology, and yeah, media studies, tribal studies, or communication studies, whatever. If, among all these disciplines of humanities and social sciences and natural sciences, what is the uniqueness of anthropology, sir?
Well, I think anthropology is quite significant because we are human beings. We live in a group, so we operate in a group, and there are separate groups with different kind of physiological structures as well as cultural perspective. So, in a way, it is necessary that we understand each other in order to live together. If we have to live together, we have to interact with each other. So I must know the ways and folkways and mores of each other, so that there is less clash and less friction. So living in together is one of the major slogans of present-day society, living together. And I think anthropology, understanding of anthropology would be a great asset to have to achieve this living together.
Sir, what are the important ways that anthropology and particularly educational anthropology can play in the nation building process?
Well, without understanding the society that we are addressing through our educational process, we would be leading to products that may be maladjusted in the society, or there may be frictions, or there may be social barriers. So, of necessity, education has to be culture relevant. And I am not saying culture in a strict like Munda relevant or Quran relevant, but I am saying culture relevant in the terms of a macro situation, that education cannot be, should not be divorced from the society for which it is being designed or is being implemented. Now, to give you a stark but very sensitive comparison, the current situation in Afghanistan, all right? So if their education says that you can have 4 wives, their education says, that your first mother, second mother, third mother, fourth mother, a lesson in class 1 is written, Meri Badi Ma, I mean in their own language. Meri Badi Ma, Meri Bahni Ma, Meri Choti Ma, Meri Choti Ma. और मेरा वो भाई और वो भाई उस माँ से पैदा हुआ भाई इस माँ से पैदा हुआ भाई, ये लिखते हैं, तो it is socially acceptable and is there. But if you bring this kind of lesson in our society, there will be havoc. It will be very disastrous. It will lead to lots of. So, what I am trying to say is that education has to be in the context of the culture or the society for which it has been written, right? I used to say very frequently that in Hindu society, dating is not a accepted mores or folkways, right? So if you meet your girlfriend, then it is a not socially approved behavior. But in other cultures, it was, even within India, it was accepted value. There was nothing wrong with it. So now you can come across a number of people who, do you have a house? Do you have a flat to rent? A person comes, he wants friend, and you specifically say, no girlfriends, please. If you have, I'm letting you heard that you will not bring girlfriends. Now, why I say so? Because the community in which I am staying, or my own upbringing, my own culture is such that I do not socially approve premarital relationship. And premarital relationship may cause social aberrations and upheavals in the society. Therefore, I am not doing that. So, but if I were in, say, USA or other countries, nobody would have asked me this question, and nobody would have said that, okay, you are free to do whatever you want to do. We have no problem or that kind of thing. So my only submission is that social conditioning, contextuality is equally important in all kinds of activity.
Sir, do you see the curriculum for nation building or education for nation building? That kind of the thought process is there in our educational curriculum?
Well, it is inbuilt. I think the curriculum is being reframed, but certainly these elements are visible right from primary to higher stage. The only problem is labeling, that you label it, and then the more you label, the more there will be many subjects, and there will be clashes. Oh, this is sociology, this is anthropology, oh, this is psychology, and this. I may be wrong, but it is my personal conviction that every knowledge leads to one final goal, and that I already said, that is philosophy. I studied Stephen Hawking, although it is not my area. He is a quantum mechanics person. So I found that, well, what he is saying is philosophy. This is Advait philosophy that he is talking about. So you see, it is a convenient way of whether you say it or not, but it is there. And all that we need to is to see and analyze that, well, anthropology is there in class 7th, 8th, 6th. The only quarrel with us is that you are not saying that, oh, you have been saying Adivasis, the Birsa Munda history, you are talking about Birsa Munda movement in Jharkhand. Then I start quarreling. No. This is anthropology. You have not. Why don't you say that this is anthropology? So the problem is this: that we want. If you start looking at it, the entire body of knowledge as one holistic one, in which we are chipping at different places. I, as a sociologist, is chipping here. You, as social anthropologist, is chipping somewhere else. Physics wala chipping is somewhere else. So this is the whole, and we are trying to chip and learn about that particular area, but ultimately it is all one. Advait philosophy.
Yes, sir. So, thank you, Professor N.K.Ambasht, sir, for your time, and thank you for sharing your ideas, valuable insights for the queries. Thank you so much.
Welcome. You are welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you.